What's up, YouTube? You know it is AphroditesCrush back with you once again. And today we're doing something a little bit different. Now, I'm going to warn everybody ahead of time, there's going to be some rough language in this video. So if you are under the age of 18, or if you're not very mature, I suggest you click on something over there. I think it is. Possibly, or is it over there? Somewhere on this page, you're going to see videos that you can click on and not be here. So, if you don't like bad words, you can't really go la, 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 la. So click on another video, search for something else, go check out the videos on the regular channel. Just go. You gone? Sure? Okay. So, we have such an occasion here because I have my wife, Anita, and our friend, Ilea, here for a very special roundtable. Set the tone here for you. There is an internet personality, basically made her name off of bringing down video games for being, racially profiling, sexist, and basically in the form of degrading women in all shapes, sorts, and sizes. I was thinking, who would do such a thing? Well, her name is Anita Sarkeesian. She runs, her own agenda out of the videos that she does. I'm not even going to promote her YouTube account here because it's just going to give her money, and that's not something that I personally want to do. So here's the argument that she places, and also the two people here who are going to rail against it. Okay. Basically, in her videos, that she states, of course, that on a racial level and on a gender level, video games are basically, hello, Ian. Video games are basically a tool for nothing more than to satiate the heterosexual male. And what she means by this is that from the way that a woman is dressed in a video game, to the way that a woman acts in a video game, to where a male protagonist or a female protagonist may go in a video game, is all geared towards pleasing the heterosexual male. And pretty much it's to the point now where she is now working on a video game with EA called Mirror's Edge 2, where she actually has a little bit of pull on how this game is being created, and probably have it and how it's marketed, how it's programmed. And that is also actually, and this is something I find to be pretty much reprehensible, basically stating that a woman needs a separate control scheme because women don't game that often and they obviously don't know how to game. So I will level the base question to you two. How do you feel about the base allegations that she makes towards the video game industry as a whole?
Okay, first off, this bitch does not speak for women because, one, I am smart enough to figure out a game. I have been playing video games since Nintendo came out with the first NES. I've been playing Mario Brothers all the way up to right now I'm playing Stick of Truth from the South Park game. And one, this woman does not know what she's talking about. I have a list right here of 100 different games that have female protagonists on it. They're the lead role in the game. Two, I'm smart enough to figure out a game, so I don't need a special game for that. And as you can see by my shirt, I love all things geek, so.
I can't say too much differently. I've been playing video games clear back to the Atari, on a black and white TV, no less. I had no problem figuring out any of the controllers so far. I have played several games that have female protagonists, both adventure and puzzle-based. I've done first-person shooters. I have done third-person adventure games. I've done the group games, like the original Final Fantasies. I've done all kinds of gaming, and she doesn't know what she's talking about at all. And frankly, it's insulting to women as a whole. I feel she's duping the women who are giving her money because she's been caught in several lies. She has been giving falsehoods around most video games. And from what I've seen, it doesn't appear that she understands or knows what she's talking about.
And to her objection that women are being objectified in video games, it's done to both genders. If you look at a stereotypical male in a video game, they're over-exaggerated muscles. The video shot, which she's talking about, that always shows off the women's attributes, does the same thing to males. They are turned at a certain angle, so the bulge is shown, and apparently every male has a 9-inch package. So,
Are you guys
I'm
talking
sorry,
about
it's
that woman
done-
that got threatened? They had a death threat or whatever?
Yeah,
Yes.
Anita Sarkeesian. Basically, the big reason why she's making a lot of noise right now, which I was explaining earlier, is that she's now signed on to help develop Mirror's Edge 2. Of course, it has to be EA, because EA don't give a fuck about the gamer.
She's saying there is no strong female protagonist in any game.
Or if there are, they're over-sexualized.
Or women are just placed in video games to be sexual objects. They have no stronger role than that.
Did they ever catch the people that made that threat? Because that was like way beyond. That was more like a terrorist threat, you know?
I think they got him, because it really hasn't been much. It's been more people just, trying to keep her away from the industry, which I'd like to know which fucking bat-brained motherfucker hired her at EA, because I can guarantee you about 4 hours ago he got fired because Alpha Omega Sin covered it, Review Tech USA covered it. Eventually, a whole bunch of these other gaming sites like IGN and Joystick are gonna grab a hold of this news story. And I mean, you think EA has opened up cans of worms in the past with its Day One DLC and its pay-to-play procedures. Now we're going to get a whole another round of people saying, you know what, fuck your company. I mean, I've never seen such a slap in the face to a game than someone who doesn't play video games, and she's admitted she doesn't play video games, basically stating that, well, now I'm going to work in development of a video game.
Or telling women that we're not smart enough to play a video game as is, that a special version of the game needs to be played. I don't think the woman needs to be killed. I just think she needs to get out of my video games.
I tend to agree. It is insulting the way she just says, because we're women, we're too stupid to be able to figure out a controller.
That's something I think is just, I mean, number one, does she know any gamers? I mean, there are plenty of women out there, plenty of women who fucking kill on Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield, and you know what?
Our friend Jen
plays
Halo all the time.
BioShock and Halo, like, it's a fucking religion. I mean, she is on that all the time,
And as to no female protagonist, what was Lightning in Final Fantasy, or Eternal Sonata, where most of your cast is female, or Alice in Resident Evil?
Yeah.
She kind of treads the line of that man-hating feminist, and I really hate calling her feminist because she really gives feminists a bad name. She really does. Most simply due to the fact that
She doesn't have brains.
She
demeans women in her arguments.
She has double gender bias. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that. She has a double gender bias. She believes that males need to be demasculined, have their masculinity lowered or taken away, but at the same time also seeks to reduce women's femininity. In that sense of, well, we are the weaker species, so therefore we need to have a simple control scheme. She's a very weird, off-kilter activist that honestly has really zero leg to stand on. And the one thing I can say is, yes, there have been over-sexualization in video games. The reason why is that for the longest time, the average gamer was a 18 to 34 demographic for the M games and a 12 to 16 demographic for some of the younger games. And even that's why they have the rating system as well. This bitch doesn't even take the rating system into account. She feels that a grown woman has no skills to play video games, has to have something special made for them. Or a grown woman can't make a decision on a video game on her own, which is insulting, no matter which way you skew it.
Right. And I was going to ask you guys, do you guys think that just in general, a lot of the really hardcore, like militant type feminists, do you think it almost reaches a point where it's not about equality, but more just about like anti-male, And
that's how she's coming off.
It gives that appearance, and I find it kind of ironic so when they get to that point, because it becomes, not only is it deliberately trying to demasculate a male, but it ends up being insulting to the woman too. But they don't see it that way.
The sad part about it is that, contrary to popular belief, there is a place in society for both an alpha male personality and the alpha female personality. And she seeks to completely wipe both from consciousness. I mean, she's not a militant feminist. I've seen militant feminists. I mean, I was reading an article about a woman who honestly thought that men should be an endangered species. That way we're treated better or something like that.
Oh.
Totally, like she wanted like 60% of the male population in the world killed off because men cause wars. Literally.
Does she know what PMS is?
I don't know.
I'm going to say, we can be just as aggressive as males can.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can be far more cruel.
Yeah, you don't want to get between two women when they're fighting.
That's true.
There's way too many jokes to be made in that, but...
No, I'm not talking about a slap fest. I'm talking about two women screaming at each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they can be the cruelest, most self-centered people
I remember
in the
high
world.
School. Two females start fighting in the hallway. One of them takes her shirt off, is not wearing a bra. Takes her shirt off in the middle of the hallway to start going at it with the other person. As teachers come along to try and break this up.
Teachers taking more of the damage from the nails than anything else.
I said, meanwhile, I'm standing beside there with my jaw open going, "You're insane!"
The poor male teachers probably come up and try to break it up, like, I'm not trying to get sued or fired. No, touching things I'm not supposed to touch.
Yeah, I was going to say, they actually ended up grabbing her by the legs, and another one grabbed her by the arms, because what are you going to do?
Can you imagine? No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. But it's the simple fact of how she comes across and the attitude that she portrays, not to mention the inconsistency in her arguments.
As well as misinformation.
Where one interview she says, "Oh yeah, I play video games all the time. I love them," to another one where she's teaching a group of it looked like college students about, she was making a music video and she didn't know much about gaming. She had to read up and learn a lot.
That's a big thing, because it just seems like, number one, she comes off that way, but number two, she was stupid about it and actually said something to a group of people and somebody had a camera phone.
Well, that, and it simply puts up the image that she's nothing more than trying to grab attention. Right. She'll say whatever she thinks will get people's attention to notice her and to make her money.
Yep. One thing that I've found really interesting is that she did, I think, like a GoFundMe or Kickstarter to do her web series this, I mean, okay, I mean, obviously, no, Ian, you and Ben do the No Rights podcast every week. You do it every week.
We do.
You probably do on average, not including the weeks that you intentionally take off and sometimes unintentionally, you probably make about 40 to 50 episodes a year, correct?
Yeah, we're really consistent. That I mean, if I couldn't do it that day, usually we would just reschedule for like the next day or whatever. But we would still do it every week, you know.
Now, you don't have a budget at all, basically. No, you just basically you kick on the Google Hangouts on air, or no, you do that as far as recording it via whether it be like GarageBand that Ben's got or whatever. This woman has made a career now out of this for the simple fact that she only releases like 5 videos a year on her YouTube channel.
But she got $158,000
Yeah.
to make videos.
I mean, $30,000 to make a 20-minute video of you running your mouth and talking.
About something you had.
And she makes a video about once every 5 months.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, number one, where that money's going, because it's not paying off anybody to use the footage because it's covered under fair use copyright law. Number two, it can't go to the quality of the videos because you can come up with a good HD camera to actually really go hardcore for no more than $300 or $400 as far as a camcorder goes. The computer can't cost more than $1,200 to $1,500. The program can't cost more than $200 to $500 depending on which one you get. That probably accounts for about $2,000 to $3,000 of your money, accounting for like taxes or shipping, whatever. $150,000. That markets about $30,000 per video. What is she doing with this other amount of money that she has tucked away for her web series that takes so long? I mean, I can sit here and make a YouTube video in under 6 hours, and it can be like a 20-minute video, which is basically what she makes. On what I have here, I have a $650 Mac Mini, a $30 webcam that I have right now, and I have a $40 mic. Worst comes to worst, I have an iPhone. I can just snap it together, and I can use iMovie on my Mac to do the editing that I need. Where is this money going? If she wants to be all, the industry needs to be, transparent about their intentions, what about hers? What about her intentions for the people that she's stringing along and basically legal theft, taking money from? No.
Yeah.
It's astounding. Nobody seems to be putting these questions out there, and I see so many people. It's guys, of course, because most guys are insulted. I'm insulted just as a gamer, and I really don't play a lot of those games where the women are hypersexualized. And they're out there. Yeah, of course they're out there, because a large portion of gamers are male, and still the larger portion of gamers are male. But you know what? The female base, number one, has been around since the early days, and number two, is growing. And more of them are pissed. I just showed a couple videos to Anita last night, and she's like, she's a bitch. My opinion. Hey, YouTube. My opinion is Anita Sarkeesian is bitch.
I second that.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
I was gonna ask you guys. Did you guys hear about? Wasn't she also making points about like in the video game industry specifically about like the positions in the game development part that women have and how they're not as good as they could be or whatever? I'm not totally sure what she was saying, but
she believes that women are not given opportunities in the industry. It's a very small amount. I think it's like maybe like 2 to 5% of all video game designers are female, and developers don't want to hire women. Blah blah blah.
what about the salaries?
As far as salaries go, yeah, there's always going to be, unfortunately, even in today's day and age, there's going to be a salary differential because, unfortunately, that's just
a lot of the industries are in foreign countries. And in those countries, women aren't equal citizens like they are in the United States. Nintendo, a big one. Japan. Women are not considered equal to men. They will never be paid
definitely not
as men.
Yeah.
But most jobs in the States do pay equality.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, there's not that many jobs in the States to begin with, though, because it's like you can't really find any video game positions here in Ohio, that's for sure.
Well, no.
not unless like an indie developer,
Yeah.
Or you're making apps for Android or iPhone.
It's pretty much California and New York, when it comes down to it.
And the thing about it is, too, is that, and unfortunately this is the truth, some women are just scared away from the industry because of what they hear. They choose to go into a different level of design, whether it be like graphic design, something like that, because they hear the quote-unquote horror stories that get perpetuated by people like this. There's like, well, I don't have a chance anyway, so I might as well not even try.
Or they don't even bother because they don't see money in the field, because art degrees, a lot of people don't make much from them.
Some of it is based on experience. But you can't get experience until you get a job, and you can't get a job unless you have experience.
And you got to go out there.
Yeah. You have to put yourself out there.
And as you raised a point, you typically have to live in an area where such a job is available.
We have a friend who we graduated high school with, went to New York, and he's drawing for mangas now.
It's just a matter of where you go, who you know, what you want to do, and whether you want to get out there and do everything.
Yeah, he had to move to New York to do it, but he did it.
Yeah. Actually, one of the first episodes that I did with Ben on our podcast is we talked about, like how necessary really it is to, go into school, like higher education-wise, and get into debt and stuff, It's nowadays, especially with the internet, it's not really as needed as it used to be,
But it's still, something that may be a requirement. Like, I can apply to Full Sail University tomorrow and still get schooling and whatnot, but there are certain degrees and probably would have to move to Florida and actually work at Full Sail to get my degree in.
Yeah.
Well, it's like if she'd put her mind to it, she's a heck of a drawer. If she put her mind to it, I'd love to play a video game she designed, because I've never met a better artist.
Meet my mom sometime.
I've seen what your mom draws. I like yours better.
That's because you have imagination.
Really, it's almost like a catch-22, because a lot of places they say they want education, but they want like experience too, And if you're just getting fresh off the boat of school, it's like you don't have any.
Unless you ended up in a work-study program, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Really, as long as you have a passion for what you want to do, you could get really good to where they would. A lot of companies would be bending over backwards just to get you,
But it's like any other industry like that, movie, music, any of it. You've got to prove yourself. You got to get out there, and you got to go where the jobs are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just something that she perpetuates. Of well, we need to make things equal. Yeah, well, you know what? Make it equal. Go out there, put yourself out there, put yourself into the marketplace to make it equal. You can't just force an industry to. Well, it's like what we were talking about yesterday about creating a artificial market for something. You can't artificially make something equal and only to your liking, especially when you are in the minority. Creating an artificial equality isn't really equality. That's just bullshit.
Well, it's like Barbie dolls. When we were kids, Barbie had a figure that if she was real would have fallen over and never been able to stand up. But we never thought anything of it. She was just a toy we played with.
Yeah.
Nobody thought anything of it till one person opened their mouth and said, well, this is a slam against women. No, it wasn't. It was just a toy.
40 to 60 years of a toy. Everyone, reach out! When people just want to watch the world burn. Maybe Ken liked the Barbie with big tits. I mean, seriously.
I never noticed she had big tits. She was just my doll baby.
Yeah, I would say it was just something to mess around with.
And then, got motherfuckers perpetuating stuff like that when, Barbie and Ken got divorced.
Well, it's like Ken was
the
never
hell?
anatomically correct, and people griped about that.
Yeah. Fucking Barbie was never anatomically correct.
She was closer.
But it's just,
That's on the model Barbie.
Yeah. It's just these types of artificial changes that people make to products, services, and industries that make it so people are artificially angry over something that really has no bearing.
You nitpick at something that for years nobody even thought of, and it was never an issue.
Or it really isn't an issue, and somebody just wants to have something to complain about, which I really think is her issue. She sees a big money target, and now she's pretty much got her wish. She's working on a big money project in Mirror's Edge 2, which I tweeted EA. I said, she's working on your game? I'm not buying it. I don't understand how the hiring process went to get her into the game for the simple fact of all the negative publicity that it would garner. I mean, come on. Yeah, that woman's had death threats pulled out on her. You don't think people are going to say, oh, you got her working on your game? Fuck you.
But she's also one of them people who says, you play a game long enough, you're going to do what it says.
Yeah.
I've been playing role-playing games for years. I play Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy X, Folklore, all those kind of hack-and-slash games. I've never ran around stabbing people.
Yeah, like the Grand Theft Autos and stuff.
Yeah, have you ever gone
Kids,
around hitting monks and stuff because you could in the game?
No.
Apparently you're because you're a gamer.
I'll tell you what, man, I was fucking prostitutes and killing them to get my money back in the game, but ain't not one on my kill.
Yeah, you touch one of them now and I'll hurt you.
I'm sorry I had to interrupt. I was just going to say, the only thing I would say, though, about with video games is that could potentially make people violent is just, like, the frustration part. Like, there's some video games where, like, I've just, like thrown, like, a ball across the room or something just getting so mad at the TV, you know?
I've got a game, Eternal Sonata. There is one level you can't get through without the strategy guide. You can't.
Yeah. And with kids, they don't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That could potentially make kids do crazy stuff, you know, because they don't have the maturity level.
That's where the parents need to step in and decide what games they should play and what games they shouldn't, instead of letting the TV teach their kids.
Yeah, parents should play an active role. Ironically, mine did play an active role in my video gaming life. One of my favorite memories is sitting down where Dad has the controller. The rest of us got to pick the characters for playing the original Final Fantasy on the Nintendo. All four of us would sit down, pick our characters, and he'd play. And it was fun because he'd let us pick what we got to do.
That's right, Kitty.
That would be my cat.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of times parents just don't want to take responsibility. They want to.
And that's why our
common sense out of
generation is
things.
screwed up. Not because of video game, it's because parents don't want to be parents.
Yeah.
And they just finished up a study where they actually studied people who play video games, and the results meant that it pissed people off because the people who played video games and violent video games, their actual level of violence was lower.
Well, it's like my brother-in-law, his brother-in-law, used to sit down. He's got 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl, he used to sit down on the Xbox and he'd play. It was a hack and slash game. I don't remember what it was called.
Diablo.
And he'd have all the kids playing, and one would hold a controller, and he thought he was playing. He was too little to actually play. But they sat there, they behaved, he knew exactly where they were and what they were doing.
It's just, there's too many people who think they know what's correct, and they really don't. That's where she falls into. She has no bearing on any woman that I know. And I know some hardcore feminists, and I consider myself a feminist supporter because a woman can do things just as equal as a man can, no matter what moron asshole is going to say. But to number one, demean a male and then turn around and demean your own gender, there's something wrong with you, lady. Something wrong. Apparently you got to play with the Hot Wheels too many times back in high school because you racing down this topic and you have no idea where you're going.
I would almost surmise that she doesn't really care where she's going.
As long as she makes the bucks.
I say as long as she gets the attention she wants.
She's gonna fuck around and catch a suit of some sort. She's gonna open her mouth about something she knows nothing about. Someone's gonna say, hello, let me tell you why that's bullshit. Call her out, and then she looks like a dumbass.
You mean like we're doing now?
Yeah. You know? Of course,
she has female video game producers calling her out and saying they were extremely upset and angry about the videos.
She's honestly setting female gamers back 20 years.
Or more.
You know?
Yeah.
She rails against anything that sexualizes a woman, even down to the advertising. You know, like I said, it has been a male-dominated, activity for the longest time. What's the quickest way to a man's pocket? A woman. As far as advertising goes. No.
Sex appeal.
Sex appeal. What do you think sells? What do you think sells motorcycles and cars? What do you think sells beer? What do you think sells Hooters?
Oh, there's
never eaten at Hooters before? Come on! There's an entire classification for restaurants like that. For let's see, Hooters and Roosters, they're called restaurants. Why? Because you come in for the breasts, and I'm not talking about the chicken. Come on, let's be serious. Let's be honest. You know, you come for the breasts, and you pick up some fried breasts out the door. It's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since the beginning of advertisement, I mean, it's been sexualized, you know, because it's like, I remember seeing a Coke commercial where it's like, they had this one, you're looking down at this one woman and she's got like her lips on the Coke bottle. It's like a really long Coke bottle, you know.
It's been sexualized.
Yeah. Sorry, this is not a new thing. This is not a new concept. Now you have someone who's like, it's a concept that's been around too long. It's never going to stop. You're never going to stop having Sports Illustrated sell the swimsuit issues. You're never going to stop the NYPD firemen from selling the beefcake magazines.
Sold the Conan movies? Arnold Schwarzenegger running around in nothing but a loincloth.
Exactly. Both sexes have been sexualized for the longest time. I mean, half of what sold Elvis's records.
He shaked his hips.
Shaked his hips. You know, what some people don't realize is that sex has sold for years and years and years, going back to print magazines of seeing women. Which one was it? There was print magazine ads. If he found out that you didn't go to Jefferson's bakery to get your donuts, he might spank you or something like that. It's that same type of thing, except now it's more visceral. We're a more media-driven society now, and it's just more in your face.
Well, what do you guys think about like the problem with like models and stuff though? Do you think that that's a problem where people, you know, they make them think that they have to look like them, so they'll go out and vomit, you know.
I'm sorry.
After they eat.
Somebody needs to force feed those women hamburgers, because real women are not sticks, and you don't want sticks.
And the truth is, most, as she puts it, real women
have curves.
I say, don't actually care to look like that.
Yeah, but it is a problem, because it's like a lot of young women look up to them and they think they have to look like that, you know.
And that's why you
so
have
they actually do harm to their body.
And bulimia, because you have young girls looking at these stick figures and saying, well, that's what I'm supposed to look like, but my body type isn't that way, so I need to find a way to do it. And then you have other girls who are going, you know what, I don't care. If they don't like me the way I look, I'll find somebody who does.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of those models, though, like the whole modeling industry it seems like it is a little bit different, because it's like, I always found like the women from Playboy, they look a lot hotter, but they you know, they're not like as skinny and bony as a lot of those models that are more like about fashion, you know.
Yeah,
or like the magazine Voluptuous. What they need to start doing is have real women role models instead of women that are photoshopped. Because if you look at half of those models off camera, they're not that skinny.
Yeah. That's true.
It's like Angelina Jolie, and she's so skinny you can count her ribs.
That's probably.
I also like, me personally, I don't like women with like a whole lot of makeup on. It's almost like, for some of them, they look like a clown almost, you know.
How long have I been saying that? How long?
I don't wear makeup.
How long? How long?
I can't say much. I don't mess with stuff.
It's unrealistic in many ways to.
My sister, it takes her 2 hours every day to get ready to go to work. From shower to shoes, 2 hours.
And then it takes another 20 to 40 minutes to get it all off again that night. Or you're smearing it all over your pillow.
That's one thing that I find very interesting about her, is that, you know, she tries to appear all conservative and whatnot, but you get this twinge about her. You know, you get this little twinge, and it just kind of feeds into your brain, and she's like, it's kind of sort of like, something just doesn't strike me correct about her views. And this is, you know, even beyond the fact that she outright lies. You know, straight up. You know, she twists and turns every single little piece of, you know, on-game coding to say, oh, well, you can see her butt, so guess what? You know, it's anti-woman. But she seems to have this kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of snarky attitude about it, where it seems like that she's inherently trolling you, but also chastising you at the same time. You know what I mean? You know, it's kind of hard to pinpoint. It's kind of like one of those, you know, like she's freaky deek on the inside. She's just afraid to show it. Like she's so much of a prudish personality that she has that part in her head that she doesn't want to grasp onto, and she considers that wrong. You know what I mean? She just has that feel about her.
Are you trying to say that she needs to get laid or something?
I'm not really saying that. It's just it almost seems like she has that mentality because she doesn't want to feed into.
We're being attacked by a cat back here.
Yes.
It almost seems like she doesn't want to feed into what she actually wants to do. It's like she's confused in a way. You know, she wants to rail against the over-sexualization. However, she has a factor of like needing to be needed or something, like, you know what I mean? Like she wants to be needed in that in that facet of any kind, period. And this is the only way where she can feel like she's needed is
Like
to
that's yeah. It's like that song, "I Want You to Want Me."
like the 10th degree. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's hard to explain the type of vibe that you get from her because it is so weird. I've never known someone to bash both sexes. Never heard that. I've never heard someone completely bash something to the point of, you know, calling them tropes, calling these different situations like the damsel in distress, and you know how a woman is
Sexual eye candy.
sexual eye candy, calling them tropes in video games. You know, she
actually not only demoralized women, but she was racist about it.
Yeah. She says that you know, gamers or the game developers either knowingly or unknowingly
All black and Mexican women and Asian women in video games are either prostitutes or what was it? Or strippers.
Yeah. No. She brings up, you know, games like Grand Theft Auto, and there's a Vietnam game that's out there, Mafia,
Far Cry 3.
Far Cry 3, to further that stereotype of race as an issue in how a woman acts as well. You know, like having a mob wife for an Italian, having a black woman be, you know, ebonicked out to no end, to having an Asian woman say do nothing but say "me love you long time." That is a generalization that is way off base. You know, simply because, number one, you go to certain areas and, you know, these games like Vietnam, back in the 70s, you go to Vietnam.
You got the clap for a reason.
You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of times when people, you know, try to make it about like a race issue, it's like it's almost racist in itself, you know? They try to draw attention to it.
And the one thing I like to say about racist stereotypes is this: how can it be a stereotype when people also live up to that stereotype and make that stereotype the norm? It's unfortunate that people do that, but it happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah. Also, I was gonna ask, like, when you guys play video games and you guys like design a character or whatever, I mean, do you guys make them realistic, or do you actually make them like what your desired self-image would be?
It depends on the video game. Like Reckoning, you really can't make a heavier set character. You have a choice of 3 different species. In a video game where I can create a character like myself, yeah, I usually do make a more heavy set character, kind of looks like me. Except I usually give him red hair.
It depends on what I'm doing in the video game. If I'm playing a video game where my character is going to be kicking a lot of butt, I don't want a fat character because that's really unrealistic. It's not likely that a fat character is going to be kicking a lot of butt and doing a lot of physical activity. I sure don't. But if I'm doing, if it's something simple like a building game or something like that, where I could create a heavier set character that really isn't doing too much, then that would be probably what I'd make. But I tend to lean more towards adventure games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an adventure combat game. Sorry.
Yeah, usually myself, I mean, I'll make them like strong and muscular sometimes, but it's like I don't go up to like the highest where they look like the Hulk or something, you know.
Where you're looking at that going, what the crap did I just make?
Mine's usually just messing around with the knobs to see what looks the best for me.
I like to come up with a character that looks cool.
Usually do a ponytail.
Yeah, depending on the hairstyle. I've done the hair long too, but
Yeah.
it's just that it's that sort of what do I think looks cool.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the character just looks cool, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you
And
mess
you got
around
this
with the
design.
features and
Yeah.
end up with something you thought you liked, and then it looked better.
And then something else that I kind of enjoy doing is I like creating a little bit of a backstory for my characters. Someday I will eventually write a book. I'd love to.
I can't write.
Yeah, I can't write with beans either, but I'd love to. Because I can create these backstories.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of them, it's like you could get so in depth with like the proportions of the characters, like the jaw and the nose and stuff, you know?
And then some of it's you're either male or female.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's just like you could get into all the detail of it, and then, like, if you wanted to, write a story about it, then you could draw off the character that you designed, in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've created D&D characters that way.
Yeah. What about you, Doug?
Me, I mean, yeah, as far as self-image goes, yeah, I try to make, a lot of characters, because I play a lot of those types of games. I play a lot of sports games, a lot of action-based games.
Wrestling games.
Wrestling games.
You do usually make a wrestler that looks more like you, though.
Yeah. However, there are some games that I'll actually create a female in, and I'll just create her to look badass. And sorry to say, sometimes the most badass gear that is available for women in a video game is the kind of skimpy ones, unfortunately. But doesn't make it any less badass. Which is one thing that she tries to discount in her videos, saying that if it's a strong female protagonist, it's automatically offset by the over-sexualization of the character. She points out, like Lara Croft, because of the the enormous watermelons that comprise her chest, and pretty much anything involving a woman.
Well, it's like just looking around your office. I'm not particularly fond of women bodybuilders. I think they're too muscular, but he has them up on the wall, and I'm sorry if these women want to
He's
wear.
got a lot of those, huh?
Yeah, they want to wear bikinis and show off their body. It's their body.
That's the one thing I've never understood, is that she wants to break down the barrier, which, by the way, doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. If a woman did not want to play a character in the game based upon, these parameters, she would say,
I'm not playing the game.
Nope. Not participating in the game, not going to be a character in the game. You have to be comfortable in what you're playing or what you're participating in as far as a developer goes. I'm sorry, we are no longer in the age of, oh my goodness, cover up your ankles. The damsel in distress is another trope that, like I said, I'm using her terminology.
Yeah, she's picking at Mario and Zelda.
Yeah, saying that.
Which there actually is a Zelda game that Link was missing and Zelda had to rescue him. It does exist.
Oh, yeah, well.
I think there's a couple, actually.
And like you pointed out, Super Mario 2, you can play Princess Peach.
Princess Peach.
Mario Kart, you can play Princess Peach.
Smash Brothers.
It's just that she discounts and completely leaves out so many different instances.
She's right. A lot of games in the 80s.
Yeah, had a damsel in distress.
They were damsels in distresses, but female characters evolved from that.
Yeah.
There's an evolution. And she tries to say that the evolution really doesn't matter because of how the characters are presented.
Because there are still female characters in distress.
Yeah. Or, the female character is so over-sexualized that you really don't have a reason to believe in that character. Or if you have an option to play as a female character, the game is still skewed toward the heterosexual male point of view.
I think they're called NPCs.
Yeah, non-playable characters.
A lot of them, they're one-dimensional, but so are the males.
Yep.
They're just there to spout a few lines.
she leaves out so much while trying to push the, if you have a testosterone level above X amount, then you're a bad person, and we need to change your viewpoint. Uh, Her entire arguments only hold pieces of the puzzle, only hold this piece and that piece, and it does not present the entire picture as a whole. Number one, for gamers in general, for female gamers primarily, and also for male gamers, because honestly, I could give a fuck, if it's a woman that's scantily clad or if it's a woman dressed up in a fucking burqa. It doesn't matter to me. If the game is good, I'll play the game. If the game is a good game, it will get played. If it's a crappy game, it won't get played.
I've drummed him nuts with Eternal Sonata, and shoot, 5 out of 7 of your characters are female.
Yep. But she won't talk about games like that because it doesn't fit the agenda. But that's her scheme of things. She will not say a damn word about the hundreds of games that have strong female protagonists and rail on about the one classification that has about maybe 30 games to its moniker. I mean, yeah, GTA 5 is a very violent video game. You know what happens when you have a violent video game? Required by every single retailer that carries video games in the United States of America. There's a thing called the ESRB rating system. Every parent has an option to use it. Every retailer has an obligation, not only to the bottom dollar, but also to the policies and procedures of that establishment to say, hey, this is a rated M game. If you're buying this for your child, here's what's in that game. If you're an adult, feel free to take a look at the back of the game, and I will let you know exactly what's in it. Saints Row 4 is a really good example. Saints Row 4, a lot of people bought that game, and some people were offended by that game. Would you like to know why? The Penetrator. The Penetrator is a weapon. It is, and for people who have never played Saints Row 4 out there, I'm going to let you know. Spoiler alert. There is a weapon that you can unlock in the game, which, by the way, you can unlock everything straight out the game, too, if you have the right code. But it's a weapon. It looks like a broadsword. Instead of a sword, it's a big purple dildo. It's called the Penetrator. And you know what? You beat people to death with it.
But actually, that leads me to ask another question. I know you guys are talking about the video game industry, but what do you guys think about women in the pornography industry?
I have no problem with it. Woman's body is her own body. If she decides she wants to sell it for sex, more power to her. It's not for me.
Right, but you don't think it's like the same thing where they're, what do you call it? Because they're like objectified or sexualized or whatever,
They chose to do it.
Yeah. The thing about it is that there's more women.
Nobody held a gun to their throat and said they had to be on camera having sex.
There are more women that are either A, helping to run these companies, or B, actually running the show as far as like production directors and producers.
And there's actually more safety standards in the pornography industry, particularly for the women cast, than anything else.
You guys support California and the laws that they've made in the porno industry, where it's like contraception and stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know why somebody wouldn't want to place those policies in place. If you're a company that produces that content, you don't want to follow those policies and that law for contraception and protection for all performers, then you don't need to be in business, because you don't have the people who are your performers, you don't have their best interests at heart.
Right. I think
the pornography industry has the least amount of sexually transmitted diseases than the regular populace.
What do you guys think about prostitution? Do you think that should be legalized?
Been around way before laws even existed.
prostitution is the oldest job there is. Yep. It's been there since time began.
It's another one of those issues where it's not.
It should be regulated.
Yeah, it should be regulated, but it's just another thing like you regulate it, we'll wipe out the national deficit in 10 years.
ILEA has a different stand, but it's for religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the arguments against it I was reading was that it can, lead to human trafficking, I guess. That was one of the problems with it.
I get that, but if it was government regulated, then they shouldn't have those problems. You already have human trafficking problems. Here in the States alone, women getting shipped over from overseas and being sold into prostitution.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This might help it more to stop it.
Actually, it's way big more. It's a huger epidemic than anything that we're worried about overseas, I mean, so many people that are forced into that,
Yeah, they don't have the money to get to the country, so they agree to work for somebody for 7-10 years and not knowing that work is going to be you're going to have to sleep with whoever they tell you to.
Yeah.
It's the big point of the roundtable that I wanted to do was just more to inform people that this woman is out there and she's affecting the industry that we all know and love in a very negative way. It's not the point that she's a bitch. Okay, it's the point that she's a bitch, but seriously. She has no experience in the industry. She has no foothold in the industry. All she is somebody who works in media. By having this YouTube channel and having it for as long as I have, and I very loosely consider myself in the media. And I think everyone who's a content creator for a large amount of time doing this would consider themselves part of the media because we present ourselves in this form, whether it be in audio format on the podcast or on the video format here on the channel. However, you will never hear me walk up to EA and say, "Can you give me a chick with bigger tits in the game, please?" And that's just really what we all need to see. Or, you know what I mean? Yeah. The only things that I'm worried about as far as the industry goes is this. Number one, you make good games. Number two,
stop putting out games where you have to pay for extras to get them fixed.
Yeah. Your DLC needs to be
micro payments.
Mm-hmm.
Microtransactions need to die quickly.
I made a South Park episode on it.
Yeah. Number three, the games that you make have to be accessible to whoever your clientele is, which goes back to Xbox having, the pay-to-play Xbox Live bullshit when they first announced it. And number four, accessibility to different things in the game as well.
Yeah, going back to like the microtransactions and the DLC, I've already paid $60 for a game. It should work through and through.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that they will add things to the game on the back end. Now, Capcom, I'll wait for Capcom. I will wait on Capcom because I got a lot to say on that issue.
I was gonna say you just had a friend sell his PS4 because of 2 games that completely blitzed on him.
Yeah. Actually, I'll probably do that video next. But in general, no, the games have to meet that standard. And I consider that to be a public standard. Most games don't reach that standard, but they come close in most cases. However, those public standards that I talk about as far as being a consumer, the consumer standard, because I'm one of the consumers. I may have this media outlet to work with, but I'm still a consumer. I'm still one of the guys. I don't get a review copy of a game. I have to go out and buy it. I don't get paid to do reviews for any product that I have, really. whether it be a camera, whether it be a TV, whether it be a bodybuilding product, I'm gonna get paid for those. If I got paid for it, things be a little bit different, and that means I'd really be into the media industry for whatever I'm going on. However, I'm more of a consumer media personality. I don't have any right to walk up to a gaming company and say, this is how I want your game to go, beyond what the consumer expectation is. I don't care if I have a diploma from X university that says I can run my mouth. I don't have the right to say, I want in on this and I want to tell you how to make your game. She falls under that as well. She has a diploma. She has a YouTube account. She has no right to tell a company how to make a game.
Or tell women what they do and don't like. If you're not a female gamer, then you don't have the right to speak for female gamers.
Yep.
Even if you are a female gamer, you can speak for yourself, but you can't speak for an entire group of people who, particularly, you apparently have no connections with.
Not unless we've elected you to speak.
Yeah.
And trust me.
I promise we haven't. At all. Ever.
Bitch, you're impeached. Get out.
In this life or the next.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's just like, for a lot of people that are like into guns and stuff, it's like for a lot of people the NRA doesn't represent them, or like PETA for vegetarians,
Yeah.
Well, it's like PETA was going on about Pokemon because it promotes cruelty to animals. One, Pokemon aren't animals.
They're pocket monsters.
Hence the name, Pokemon.
And two, the game actually teaches you to take care of them and to work with them.
And the concept of the battle is not any more than, say, a martial arts tournament to humans. Sure, you might get hurt, but
Nobody
you do
dies.
it anyway. Not unless it's like something extreme.
Bloodsport
it's
Club
rare.
Graveler explosion.
That's you guys miss taking care of your Tamagotchis and stuff. What were those little things that you take? It's like a little screen. Yeah, and you
I actually had one at one point.
Virtual pets.
Mm-hmm.
I had a virtual pet that was a WWE guy. So.
I had a little cat.
I had a little, I don't
That's
know
cute.
what it is. My mom got it back in the early days.
I was proud. I kept one alive for almost a year.
Yeah, between me and my siblings, we kept it alive till the battery died.
Did you guys ever want to get one of those Furby 2.0s?
No.
No.
Those things are creepy.
Well, did you ever see a Furby autopsy on YouTube?
No.
No. Sounds funny, though.
Yeah, where they just dismantle a Furby. But
Dog's over here dying.
But yes. So I guess, do you guys have any other thoughts?
Just I hope she shuts up and gets out of the media.
Yeah, I hope that people will see her for what she is, a fraud, a liar, and just a waste of time. Because she doesn't represent who she claims to represent. She misrepresents what she puts out there, and it's annoying, it's frustrating, it's insulting and demeaning.
You mean people could actually misrepresent people? You mean like L. Sharpton?
NAACP?
Yeah.
Stay away from my games. Stay away from the companies that make my games. Stay away from anywhere close to a video game unless your ass is paying $60 a year to play on Xbox Live, and then you can be a target for everyone to pwn you when you try to play Call of Duty with a ping pong ball because you can't play it with an actual game controller. Welcome to the new millennium, lady. This is not Feminism Weekly. This is not, oh my goodness, we can do it. This is nothing ever close to a real feminist issue. You want to know why? Because this is media. This is video games. This is where people use to take out their frustrations. I'm going to have to go upstairs and play Black Ops Declassified just to come down off this damn video because I don't like you that much. I'll be sitting there with my fucking headset on going, fucking, go away, bitch! Fuck! You know, people who try to regulate my video games for me or for someone else because they don't have the intelligence. I don't care if you have a fucking diploma, if you have a master's degree, you have a PhD. If you are not street smart, you're fucking dumb, okay? You walk out, you walk into the real world, to borrow something from Dr. Cox. I don't know what world of unicorns and marshmallows that you either A, kept up in your summers with, or B, completely lived in your early days, but this is the real world, okay?
The real world on MTV.
Ugh. Brother! I'll play those games as long as you give me some of that sweet weed.
I guess my last question for you guys would be is who are you guys voting for in 2016? Are you guys voting for Hillary?
God, no.
No, and for one good reason.
I hate
Many foreign countries still see women as second-class citizens, and I can promise you would not take a woman leader seriously. It would be damaging to foreign relations.
That's not why I'm not voting for her. I'm not voting for her because I think she's a bitch.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But I was trying to make a less aggressive point.
I don't think she's running anyway.
Yes, she is.
She had a fucking brain aneurysm and like almost had a stroke. What makes anyone think she's going to be fit enough to actually be the leader of a country?
Now, what's kind of funny that she did that conference and hardly anybody showed up.
That was embarrassing. Yeah,
that's part of the reason why she needs not be anywhere close to the presidency. And if you can't control your man, Hillary, you can't control the country.
But I mean, I would definitely love to see a woman president, and I hate when people
I'd love to see
generalize.
Yeah.
I just
when they
don't
generalize and say that she's gonna be like a mommy then, or she's gonna be too soft on different various policies.
No, I'd love to see Sarah Palin. I would have voted for, but I don't want to see Hillary Clinton in office.
Palin needs to get off humping them bears up in Alaska.
Nailing Palin.
Damn, I'm all about family values. But by the way, my daughter got knocked up by the first guy she slept with. Oops.
The person I would like to see in office, whether it be male or female, would be a strong leader who is capable of dealing with the multitude of various influences to the office.
Vince McMahon?
All politicians are corrupt and cracked, so it don't matter.
Unfortunately, I kind of agree with that. Actually, a lot of agree with that.
So that's your standard answer right there. So.
Well, back in the day, like George Washington, he said he wasn't worthy being the president. You know, it was humbling for him and other presidents back in the day. You know, it was.
Honestly, they need to get somebody. They need to basically get rid of all the politicians now, and just get a blue-collared worker in there, somebody who actually understands what it is to be lower class or second class or middle class citizens, who knows what we go through every day, instead of some rich guy who had a silver spoon in his mouth and has no idea how to run anything.
Not only as president, but Congress as well, because you got to have both.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
And it's sort of been my personal opinion too, is that I think we probably should have a president like how we used to have presidents, where they actually had some kind of like military experience or whatever. So they're,
like I said, just dump all the politicians and start over.
You know what I want? I want a drunk in office. I'll tell you why. I'm dead serious. You want someone who's going to be completely honest about their intentions, someone who's not afraid to sit there and tell you what the fuck is going on, and is not afraid of a fight.
And the rest of the world will walk all over him.
John could be like, fuck it! Scud missiles! Hit that motherfucker!
You want somebody to start World War III then.
That would be or to set the world record for being assassinated.
I thought that was going to be Obama.
That's what a lot of people said.
That's one of the things I always thought was hilarious. Man, that black guy Obama gets in office, I'm going down to Washington, D.C. with my 12 gauge. Motherfucker, there are 10,000 of you dumbasses all over America talking all that kind of shit. What happened?
Oh, I had no problem having a black president.
Oh, me neither.
I just didn't want him.
No.
Well,
I just like his political standpoints.
I still don't.
Yeah, well, that was the problem. Is a lot of people were, they would cite racism and stuff for people that didn't.
I
really
have
like
no
Obama,
problem
and that's
having a black president. I would have no problem having an Asian president, a Hispanic president. I'd love to see a woman president. Any of them.
And
I didn't.
how it's going to be though. If you don't like Hillary Clinton, then you're going to be a sexist. Then that's probably going to be similar,
Yeah. If you don't like Obama, you're a racist. If you don't like Hillary, you're going to be a sexist. And that's the type of things that women like Sarkeesian, put out there. If you don't follow A, B, and C, you automatically, with no redemption whatsoever, fall into this category, whether you like it or not. That is probably the most insulting thing of all, because you're making assumptions about a motherfucker that you know nothing about. Well, you're looking at me telling me I'm a racist, and I can give you every single reason in the book to let you know exactly what's going on.
Now I've lived.
People say if you're pro-gun, you're just racist.
I've lived with a sexist and a racist. My father is both. And I can tell you right now, it's not fun. Particularly when you're a girl, it is not fun to live in a household with a sexist.
Yeah. How could you be a racist, though, if you're pro-Second Amendment? I mean, it's crazy. Some people just grab stuff out of thin air,
And if you're using the Fifth Amendment, you're automatically guilty.
Yeah.
So, wrap up. What can we take away from this today?
That we shouldn't worship people?
Right there.
That we shouldn't promote one woman as the voice of feminism or the voice of women.
That if you're going to put something out there, do the research first, ask people's opinions, back up your statements.
Know what you're talking about.
Know what you're talking about. Don't be a douchebag.
Actually get other women gamers' opinions.
Yeah.
Get into contact with some people in the industry. See how they feel about it. Don't blow smoke up people's asses and say it's real.
Make-believe statistics.
Don't blow smoke up people's asses and tell them it's a smooth wind.
Or fake psychology. That one was funny.
Oh, yeah, that's the one thing that we really didn't cover is her use of buzzwords and her use of, constructive wordplay. That's a mind game right there, and that's that. For someone like me, who likes linguistics and stuff, that I can see a mind game like that a mile away. She uses buzzwords and she uses constructive wordplay to prey on people's heads who are not educated and need to be, but now they're being educated by someone who doesn't really have the goal of educating someone.
Yeah.
That pisses me off. That pisses me off pretty heavily because you're fucking around with people on a submental level. Like, oh, man, she's talking some really fucked up, weird words, man.
She must
I
be
don't know.
smart. She's using big words.
She must be really well educated. And you know what? Yeah, you went to a high dollar school, and here's something, bitch. You from Canada? Go back. Go back. Get the fuck out of my country. Go back.
Take Justin Bieber with you.
I've been to Canada. It's really nice. I've been to the Falls. I've been to Toronto. You know, there's this place called Medieval Times. Go there, have yourself a fucking chicken bone, and chill.
There's a lot of good art schools and companies to work for there.
Yeah. Just go there.
Go make their video games.
Yeah. Like, especially in Vancouver, I've noticed a lot of like VFX and games companies that are there.
Go make a fucking hockey game, lady. Okay. Bye. See ya. I'm willing to put the thought out there that she, in being from Canada and born from Canada, probably went to American schools on American taxpayers' dime.
Probably.
I'm willing to float that idea out there. You want to know why? Because she sure as hell uses that education against us. Except that we're not as stupid as she thinks we are. Women.
Some of them are.
Yeah, some of them are, but the mass amount are not as stupid as she thinks you are. As she thinks I am. You know, there's way too many intelligent women out there who probably look at this bitch straight in her face, laugh, and walk away. Especially, oh, here's your new control scheme for Mirror's Edge because you're not smart enough to know the base configuration of the controller.
Well, the thing is that I think a lot of people judge, like, they'll generalize people because of what's on TV, and I don't even watch TV a whole lot, really, so.
We don't have cable.
Yeah. She walks up to us and say, well, what do you do? Whatever the fuck I want. And the reason why that is a very important answer to give is, number one, I don't really watch the mass media. Number two, I don't participate in mass media. Number three, due to number one and number two, I am a free thinker.
Yeah, I'm all about alternative news and media and stuff, you know.
Especially when they're trying to sell you smartwatches.
Come on.
Thank you.
Doug doesn't like to wear anything electronic. We were talking about that yesterday.
Doug doesn't like electronics.
There's certain electronics like the smartwatches. I think are a dumb idea.
Yeah, I think they are too.
I consider them dead on arrival.
You don't want a smart ring, Doug?
Huh?
They're coming out with those already, smart rings.
Yeah, we're not James Bond here.
This is not James Bond. This is not Dick Tracy.
Ba-da-da-da.
You know what? You know what I want to play? Here, I want to be James Bond. GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64. And we're done. Golden gun, I snipe all your asses, I win. Game over, thank you for playing. Oh wait, I killed a woman, so I must be sexist, and I killed a black man in that game too,
You're
so
racist.
I must be racist. Oh wait a second, I'm not, because Anita Sarkeesian is a bull-faced liar bitch. I want to thank you very much for playing our game. Please feel free to grab the home version on your way out the back door. Don't let the door hit you, where the good Lord split you, bitch.
Okay.
All right, so that's pretty much going to be the end of our roundtable. I want to thank, of course, my wife and our friend Ilea, and for Ian from
No Rights Podcast every Monday at 6 p.m.
And if you like magic, check out Tiger Lily 011982 on YouTube. I do magic decks on YouTube.
Yes. I'm also, me and Nate are trying to do a podcast, Doug, too. We're trying to come up with a name for one still, man. And no, we're not going to name it the Derpcast, like you said.
Call yourself the Dude Busters.
Dude, every permutation of every word I think is already taken for a podcast by now, probably. Especially if it's just one or two words for a podcast.
Call it like, let's see. There you go. Dudes with attitudes. How about that?
Dudes with attitudes. There you
Let's see.
Dude's thoughts.
go. Well, we wanted to call it Geek Speak, but that's already been taken.
Yeah.
Nerds words.
That anything with geek and nerd in is definitely we've done some research on those, and it's been taken.
Probably the first to go.
Yeah.
Because geek is the new popular.
Oh, it is, man. Especially from Revenge of the Nerds. That's what pretty much started it all. I think.
I remember being in school and we were the picked on kids.
Yeah. Then you got to the real world and found out we ruled the world. Go
Yeah.
figure.
The geeks shall inherit the earth.
And we took it
Because
over.
everybody has to have an iPad, so.
Come on, dance off, me and you. Come on, let's go.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I'm distracted.
Trivia off.
Nerd blossom.
Doug got his butt whooped in trivia yesterday.
I lost by 1 point.
What was the trivia?
We did gaming. We did 20 questions. Me and Ben were tied at 6 by the end of it. Because Ian here decides, oh, let's go ahead and pull from a website that does the most obscure, random, back alley, backwoods titles that haven't existed since 1976. You ever played
It's
Missile
old
Command?
school games, man.
You ever play Missile Command?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. What were the 3 bases in Missile Command?
I have no idea. I've never
Yeah.
played it.
Yeah, we all got that
It's
one
called I,
wrong.
Don't, and No.
Yeah. Alpha, Delta, and
It was-
Omega. You know who knew that? None of us.
It was retro
None of
gaming,
us.
man. You should know your retro games. You're a hardcore gamer, aren't you? What was your first system?
Atari 2600.
Yeah.
NES.
Yeah.
I was an Atari 26 as well.
We actually got the Atari when I was a teenager.
I went from the Atari to the Sega Genesis. I went from the Sega Genesis to Super Nintendo.
NES
Super
to
Nintendo
Super Nintendo to Game Boy.
Actually, I did.
Game Boy to PS1.
I was Atari, Nintendo, Game Boy, Sega.
We've been a Sony Nintendo house since we've been married.
and not that
That's
shitty Wii U either.
DS's.
And
We still have Nintendo
Nintendo,
64.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nintendo definitely doesn't seem like it has the same power it used to, you know.
Only in their handhelds.
Yeah.
The handhelds where it's at. That's what keeping that company afloat. That really is.
I love their handhelds.
Yeah.
The Wii U is a travesty.
It's a party game. The Wii
Not
itself
that.
was a party system.
Yeah.
With a
That's what
bunch.
it was. It's only fun with a group of people. The Wii U is just crap.
I owned a Dreamcast. I always liked that. It sucks that Sega had to go under, you know.
Oh, they did what Nintendo's doing right now.
See, my sister had the GameCube, and I loved Spyro on the GameCube.
Nintendo says, hey, what would be a good game to put on this system? Someone says, let's see, blah 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 part 2. Nah, fuck that game. Let's go ahead and do something that has about 10% of the appeal as the top level game.
Sony's finally re-releasing Final Fantasy VII for a new system. They're just not upgrading it yet.
Yeah.
Trying to get the taste in people's mouths.
Oh, trust me, they release an upgraded version of Final Fantasy VII, people will pay $60, $70 for it.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
And if they release special editions, I'll pay $100 for it.
Oh yeah.
I
would buy the
love that
system
game.
and pay for the game. You better believe it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I watched some a couple Let's Plays of the GTA 5 that was remastered, and I guess the graphics definitely look like they're a lot better, but it's especially like all the textures seem like they're a lot more sharper, you know, I guess.
See, I got the up-converted Final Fantasy X. And while it does look nicer, it's still got that old game feel. Yeah. I want to see Final Fantasy VII in the new graphics.
Right. Well, that's what everybody wanted to see with like one of those Zelda games, you know.
Now, some of those Zelda games actually look pretty cool. Some of them look really bad. But I can't remember which one they released where Link actually looked really realistic, and that looked pretty cool.
Cross-fading shit. Sorry, I had to clear my throat there.
She's the big Zelda player.
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to play past the 64 games. I don't own a Nintendo system past the 64 unless it's the handheld.
When you get your
Did
games,
they ever do a reboot of
underrated.
Ocarina of Time?
What was that?
Did they ever do a reboot of the Ocarina of Time? Because that was like
They
the best
did for the handheld.
game in history.
They did it for the 3DS.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like I think the best Zelda game for me, you know.
Absolutely. It was the bomb, and I play it still today.
So, is that it, Doug? Are we still live or what?
Oh yeah, we're still live. We're still live. She's just about to go ahead and close it out. So, all right. So, like I said, it's going to be the end of the roundtable here. We're probably going to have some more roundtables on different stuff coming up in the future. Probably me and somebody else, possibly, but we'll probably do at least something. Maybe shoot for maybe one roundtable a month of some sort. So.
If he talks about something I'm interested in, he can get me back.
Yeah, so.
Are you still doing your show tomorrow? Is this like in addition to your weekly
Most
show?
likely. Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
I foresee a Crush cast tomorrow, which I got Crush cast coming tomorrow. I got 2 videos I already have filmed. I just need to edit, and I'm also doing another bodybuilding related video tomorrow as well. It's going to be content day.
And like I said, if you enjoy Magic the Gathering, come check out some of my decks.
What's the best protein shake?
The best protein shake?
Yeah.
Muscle milk.
Muscle milk really is the best one for people who are lactose intolerant and need something quick and easy.
Best tasting too.
$4 to get you a muscle milk, and it tastes pretty good too.
What's the closest legal thing you could get to steroids?
The closest legal thing to steroids?
Or do they even have stuff that's better than just like the generic
No, it's
steroids,
pre-workout. Pre-workout is probably the closest thing to crack you'll ever have, because you can die from it pretty easily. Trust me.
Now, if you're talking about the testosterone boost, I think it's called Beast.
Beast Super Test.
I have to live with it, so I know what he takes usually.
So, alrighty, everybody. Well, we will see you next time. Once again, I want to thank everybody for watching, and peace out, everyone.
Peace.